Well, welcome to Donovan Live, everybody, the post-game show here on WKYC's Facebook Live with old Blue Eyes himself, Jim Donovan. I'm Dave Tinatelli. Hope you enjoyed Mike Petrone and Jim Donovan performing on Donovan Live.
Mike Petrone is one of the great acts.
Yes.
In Cleveland, because he's here all the time.
Right.
So tomorrow night he's having his 5,000th performance at Johnny's downtown. And if you've ever gone down there, and Mike has been performing, and he probably has, it's been going on since 1993, June 3rd.
Yeah, June 3rd, 93. So.
Unbelievable. But it's a great soundtrack for the night.
Yeah.
It really is. It's very entertaining. Super entertaining, and the people love him down there, and deservedly so.
Yeah.
So it was great having him on the show.
Yeah, it was awesome having him.
So he's got this tomorrow night. You can help out Coats for Kids, okay? And that's very important.
Yeah, no, there's no admission, but donations for Coats for Kids. Certainly bring a coat to donate if you'd like to do that as well. They would appreciate it. Also, Dennis Felton, Cleveland State basketball coach, joined us, and I've talked to him a few times now as he's trying to reshape and rebuild the Vikings, and they're playing Coppin State in the home opener tomorrow night at the Wolstein Center. One thing, it's a difficult thing to do, especially in the mid-major realm, is to get a program to where it's a continual succession, like Akron, what Keith Dambrot did in Akron, and what Kent State has done predominantly since Gary Waters was there, and now of course it's
Jim Christian,
Stan Heath, Rob Senderoff.
Can I be very honest? I was never a Stan Heath guy. I thought Stan Heath was a carpetbagger.
Yes.
I really did. I thought he was a one-and-done guy.
Which he was.
He lived off of Gary Waters' team.
Yep.
He went and he stiffed me on an interview, so I've never been a big Stan Heath guy. And then he went to Arkansas and he got his butt kicked there, right? And you know what? He's had about 20 jobs since then. And so I was never a big Stan Heath. I was a big Jim Christian guy, and I like the Senderoff, who's down there now. They've done a great guy. And I thought Gary Waters, was a phenomenal talent at Kent State.
But not Stan Heath.
I was not a Stan Heath guy. I think Stan Heath was a carpetbagger. He came in, he was a one-and-done guy, stiffed me on an interview before they played Indiana.
That's right. Okay, memo to everybody. Don't stiff Jim Donovan in that interview.
If you don't want to do the intervie,
just
that's fine. But don't lie about it.
Yeah.
Don't lie about it. And what I did was I caught him on an open mic, he had told me, yeah, sure, I'll be right there.
Right.
And then I hear him on an open mic because he was wearing a mic, and I heard him tell the SID, hey, get me out of here. I don't want to do that interview.
My goodness.
So,
carpetbagger. But, that's the challenge that awaits right now Dennis Felton with his new athletic director, Mike Thomas, the former Illinois, Akron, and Cincinnati AD over at Cleveland State.
Yeah.
Building and sustaining.
Well, what would you think? I would say everybody at that level wants to be Butler.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
would you
they're
say
the model.
That?
Yeah,
they're the model. Mm-hmm. I mean, Butler came on. Brad Stevens is the head coach, and of course, Butler had other good coaches before that. And they have a famous arena.
Yes.
Okay. That was the centerpiece of the movie Hoosiers, but I mean, they just became what they were. They did it the right way, and they didn't try to go any bigger than that.
No.
They just let the tournament showcase what they did. I mean, they went to the NCAA finals 2 years in a row, and they are a off-the-rim shot.
Right.
Was that by Gordon Hayward?
By Hayward, yeah. For being national champs.
To being national champs. And that is just an amazing story. So, I mean, they're the model.
Yeah.
Okay, now you got a long way to go
to
do that. You bring up a really great point, though. I mean, I hope that the new coach at Akron, the kid, Guy Gross, does a great job.
Gross,
John Gross does a great job, who was at Ohio and then went to Illinois.
Yeah.
Now he's at Akron. But I tell you what Keith Dambrot did there for so long was another example. They knew who they were.
Yeah.
Okay, he knew the kind of kid that he wanted there. They played at the Jar. They knew the MAC very well, and they did a great thing. Boy, if Keith could have just gotten over the hump in the MAC championship game so many times, he would have had 6 or 7 trips to the NCAA tournament.
Absolutely.
Right.
And thus, I think he would have been compelled, I think, more maybe to stay, because the more I've always thought with the MAC, if you can ever get to the point where you've got your top flight team, but if everybody starts chasing it and the rising tide lifts all boats, and you start getting 2 teams in the tournament,
right?
Then all of a sudden, then Dan Brown's not going to leave to go to a different school. He'll stay if he feels like every year we've got a shot to get there.
Unfortunately, I think in the MAC, and maybe this is just the reality in college basketball right now, but if a coach gets hot in the MAC, he gets a job elsewhere, and it's hard for the MAC with their economics and those particular schools to compete against these bigger schools that come in and pick their talent. So Jim Christian left twice, right? He went down to TCU, and then he went to Boston College. Okay, so I mean, he left. Stan Heath, okay, he left. Gary Waters left. Gary Waters went to Rutgers. And and then went to Cleveland State after that. But that's the case you worry about, is that, like John Gross, he had that great team at Ohio. They've got North Carolina beat in the NCAA tournament. Tar Heels come back and beat them, but they had a great run. Boom. He goes to Illinois. No, for doing that.
No. So we'll keep an eye on Cleveland State as well as what Akron does with their new coach, John Gross, and also what Kent State does during the season.
It would be really great, Dino, to see Cleveland State, find themselves. Find the right kind of player, who then gets another good player to come, and the word gets out, because that is such a great arena downtown, right on the campus of Cleveland State. The Wallstein Center, though a bit aged now, still is a beautiful place, and a downtown facility. Boy, when they would have the NCAA tournament there, I tell you what, I saw a game there one time. When Kentucky played St. Bonaventure, and it went to like double overtime or triple overtime, and Kentucky won the game, and it was just phenomenal.
Did
you see Georgia Tech when they played
when Chris Paul with Wake Forest played?
University of Milwaukee.
No, they actually advanced. They played West Virginia.
Oh, okay.
And Gansey was playing for West Virginia in Pittsnogle.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And that ended up, I think, being like a double overtime game in the second round at the Wallstein Center. One of the best games I've ever seen.
Yeah, Boston College was here, and they got beat, I think, in there one time. Bruce Pearl had a really good University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee team.
Yeah, that was the same year.
And that was great. Yeah. I just thought that was fantastic.
I love it.
Syracuse played in there. Michigan State played in there. Utah with Rick Majerus, the late Rick Majerus, they played in there. That's a beautiful arena. It really is. So, I mean, if you have a youngster who's playing, basketball in the middle school or even below levels, and you want to bring them down and watch college basketball, that's a great take-in.
It's a great take-in. It's a great affordable price at Cleveland State. Again, Coppin State tomorrow night at the Wallstein Center. Now, this weekend, Browns are back home to face the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, many of you might be saying, well, it's just another game. It's Jacksonville. Au contraire. It seems like every time the Browns and the Jaguars have played, certainly since the Browns came back in '99, strange things happen.
Yeah. Really. I mean, it's... and the Browns have not had great luck against the Jacksonville Jaguars. So when the Browns came back in 1999, they really got whooped by the Jaguars, who were really one of the top teams in the AFC at that point in time. Mark Brunell was rolling. Tom Coughlin had them rolling. They had Keenan McCardell, who's a coach there now. Jimmy Smith. They had a really good team. And then when Butch Davis took over, his first year in Cleveland, the Browns are competitive every Sunday, and they're kind of in the hunt. I think it's early December when they play.
Early December. They're still in the hunt for the postseason.
And they're definitely in the hunt in this particular game, and then Bottlegate happens.
Remember these images, Jimmy? I mean, the Browns are coming down the field trying to take the lead.
Right, because they were down by 6.
Yeah. Couch, take me back. If I remember, did he get sacked and then got up to go ahead, take me back. Do you remember?
Well, it was a 4th down play. Yeah. Okay, so Quincy Morgan makes a catch that is ruled a catch. First down, Browns.
That's right. Okay.
And they have a new set of downs. They run the next play.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, after they run the play, the official, Jeff Triplett, I believe, was the referee, comes in and says, no, we're going to review the catch by Quincy Morgan. And the Browns say, well, you can't do that.
We've already run
another play. He said, well, there was a malfunction in the buzzer. I got buzzed, and I didn't respond, or my buzzer didn't hit me hard enough, and they meant to review the play. They review the play, and they rule incomplete pass, and the ball goes over on downs then to Jacksonville.
And then chaos, as you can see those images.
Chaos. I'm going to tell you something. We have a lot of sideline reporters now in the game, okay? Television and radio. Casey Coleman, on that particular day, did some of the finest work that I've ever heard a sideline reporter do. Because, first of all, I mean, Casey is getting nailed by stuff coming out of the stands, okay? So now Casey somehow gets into a room where the NFL calls up the referee, okay, because the referee declared the game over. Game over. Calls both coaches in because Casey would interview Butch right after the game. And he would always start with the famous question, Coach, your thoughts. But anyway, he goes into this room, and the referee comes walking in while Casey is getting ready to interview Butch Davis, and he says, Coach, you have to send your team back out on the field. The NFL wants us to complete the game.
Oh my!
It was unbelievable. It was phenomenal radio. And so now they go back out onto the field to close out the final seconds of the game. It was chaos. Now, unfortunately, it became a real black eye.
Yeah.
Okay. We were seen as hooligans.
Yep.
That here we are. We get back into the NFL and look at this scene.
And it didn't help that in the press conference, which Al Lerner was there and Carmen Policy was there, and Carmen because Carmen was always good for great one-liners. He said, "Those bottles don't pack much of a wallop."
That's right. And then upon further review, the next day they have to have a press conference again to clean it up. Okay, and only Carmen was at the press conference. Al did not do the press conference the next day. Carmen had to clean it up. But I mean, this was like the lead story on the national news. I mean, these scenes were unbelievable. I remember the Jaguars running into their tunnel, and mostly the assistant coaches. The players had their helmets on, but I remember the assistant coaches and the officials with police draped around them, running into the tunnel to try and get away from the debris that was coming down.
I mean, it was absolutely terrifying.
It really was.
It was
the first game I took my daughter Megan to.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
Now
she was up on the
she
up on the radio booth with me. But still, I mean, so my wife Cheryl calls me as Megan and I are going over to the car after the game, and she says, "Hey, nice job taking our kid down
there." Great father.
Great job.
So that's the legend of Bottlegate. I mean, by the way, I love this shot, David, if you could put Butch Davis.
Now, Butch Davis got hurt physically that day.
Did he really?
Yeah, in the mayhem when the argument was going on with the officials, he had his knee blown up.
I remember that. Yes,
right. Yeah, he got hurt in that day. I'm going to tell you, that was a very competitive. Butch really competed hard with the Browns that year. They finished 7-9 and lost a ton of close games like that.
That Chicago Bear game, I always.
That was the next year.
I thought that was in.
No, that was the year they. I think that was the year they made the playoffs.
Yeah, they always had the heartbreaker games. Now in 2002, they turned the tables on Jacksonville thanks to our buddies Tim Couch and Quincy Morgan on the Hail Mary.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the year, and that's the year they made the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's the year they won on the road, like 5 or 6 times. And Couch had not had a good day. Mm-hmm. Jacksonville had the lead, and there's one drive left, and he comes down and he uncorks that pass, and Quincy Morgan makes the catch. Now, here's the other thing that's important, okay? He makes the catch, and that ties the game up. But remember, there was like 20 minutes to replay that thing. And poor Phil Dawson is walking around, and it's a really windy day down there. Very windy. Okay, and Phil Dawson is coming, he's going, come on.
I just want to kick.
I got to kick it, because if he misses it, now we're going to go to overtime. And finally, he makes it barely. He barely made the extra point. They won the game. I truly believe if that had happened this Sunday, that catch would have been wiped out.
They would have wiped it out?
There was a picture the next day on the front page of the Orlando paper. Huge picture.
Yeah.
And the ball is clearly scraping on the ground with Quincy Morgan dragging the ball into his midsection. So so that's another one. And I firmly believe that when the last time they were here, when they beat the Browns in the last minute and a half of the game, when Cecil Shorts beat Joe Hayden
2013,
I firmly believe that was the beginning, middle, and close to the end of Rob Chudzinski's 1 year as the head coach of the Browns, because Jimmy Haslam saw Gus Bradley, a real rah-rah coach, and Jacksonville came in with maybe a win or two coming into that game in the season, and he said, why is that team over there with 2 wins so fired up, and our team seems to be so, staid and kind of, like dead.
Right.
Okay. And that was one thing. And then the last time we went down there, Brian Hoyer. Yeah.
That was the first indicator that all was not well with them, because I think they had just beaten the Steelers. It might have been. I'd have to look, but that was kind of like the first. Offense doesn't look so good now, and it kind of precipitated what ended up being kind of the unraveling of that 7-4 start and the end of Hoyer as a starter.
Denard Robinson,
yes,
Michigan Shoelaces, the Michigan kid who tried it in the NFL as a running back.
Yeah.
He had about 130 yards rushing in that game.
Yes, he did.
And Brian turned the ball over. The Browns got a bunch of turnovers in the game. Bortles, I want to say, threw 3 interceptions in the game.
Right,
and the Browns would get the ball like at the 30-yard line, and all they got in the day was 2 field goals.
Wow.
They just could not. They missed a 4th down play on a 4th and inches.
Yeah.
They threw a bomb. It was just a bad day. But you're right. That was the indicator that all was not going to be right.
So what we're saying is you watch the game Sunday, or you're at First Energy Stadium, expect the unexpected.
Or you're buying your Christmas tree and you're in your car and you're listening to the game on the radio.
Please do. Yes.
Any little bit will help.
Yes. And be like me. Turn the volume down at the TV. Turn the radio up.
But you know what? Here's the thing going into Sunday's game. And I'll throw this at you. They're 6-3. They've won 3 games in a row. They have a monster defense. They lead the NFL in sacks with 35. Their defense won the game for them last Sunday against the Chargers, with a couple of interceptions and then, big plays.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure that they're ready to be the haughty favorite coming into a game. That's a new role for them. And, led by Tashawn Gibson, they've talked a lot coming into this game. Sometimes you gotta take a baby step before you take a big leap, and you're one of the big boys in the NFL. Now, statistically, they should win the game.
Yes.
Okay, they're a favorite. They're 7.5 point favorite going into the game. But I don't know. Sometimes when you're a team like Jacksonville, and I think that Tom Coughlin and Doug Marrone have warned them. Hey, go out and play the game. Don't talk the game. Play the game. So watch for that on Sunday.
Yeah, this is it kind of feels like, when you put it in that perspective, a possible trap game. And those are, one of those games where a team that's trying to take the next step, they're like, exactly. They're playing a team that hasn't won a game.
Right. Yeah.
Look out.
It's like when the Browns beat Cincinnati on that Thursday night game that time, okay, and everything looked like it was really rolling. They then took on the Houston Texans the next game here at the stadium. The running back Arian Foster was out. Okay, the quarterback was out.
That's right.
Okay, Ryan Mallett was making his first start. They had a guy named Blue Adams, I think, that was the running back. And, suddenly he looked like Barry Sanders in the game. J.J. Watt, and it just looked like the Browns were going to win the game, before the game started, and the Browns got blown out.
Right.
J.J. Watt was all over.
Yeah,
terrible day. That's the thing I kind of hold on to Sunday going into the game.
All right. Well, hopefully you keep the bottles in your seats and enjoy some great football Sunday. Hopefully. And we'll talk about it next week. Jimmy, as always, my friend, thank you so much.
It was fun.
Great hit. See, that's what you don't get that anywhere else.
Do you mean the Stan Heath part?
Exactly. Listen, hold a grudge after 15 years? You betcha.
Right there. Great memory.
That's right. All right. For Jimmy Donovan, I'm Dave DiNatale. Thanks for watching the Donovan Live Postgame Show right here on WKYC's Facebook Live.
Wow, that was a controversy.